All right, so, all right, so, Power Monday. Yeah. I said Power Monday. What? Power Monday. Power Monday. Yo, we here, baby. I meant to say everything is gonna be all right, but sometimes you gotta put up a fight. Even though you'd rather lay down, can't do it right now. No way, no how. Life ain't always hard, but sometimes these cats out here be trying to pull your card, and that's on guard. Sometimes the story gotta get kind of gory. That you might not want to hear it, but you gotta still read it in your spirit. Because if you don't, somebody will, and they might not tell the truth, but I know that until the truth gets told, everything is gonna be underlined and spelled in bold. Just like gold, shining through the rest of the light, all right? My name is Sun, so you know that I'm always gonna try to shine like one. Whether it looks like that to you or not. Big nose, lots of snot. Watch them boogers, sugar. You understand? Look, yo, we keep pressing. Everybody out here always keep stressing. But we still gonna test the limits. Yo, I'm with it to get it. Always in it to win it. That's the truth, yo. Identification and proof. Yo, everything is gonna be alright the way it go. Yo, yo, yo. Yo, 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 yo. Y'all understand? We gonna get into something tonight, y'all. You think we ain't when we yell? When we is? Nothing can stop it. You might compete with it, but you can't top it. Still pop it off just like a dance. Everybody gets their turn, so take a chance. When your chance comes, it's your time on stage, so do it. Like a rage, Nicolas Cage, hell of an act. Rewind it, spin it back. Yo, bring it back to him. Yo, detach, unglue him. Ever have to unglue something, man? You know what I'm saying? I remember when I found out that nail polish remover would take away adhesive and shit. Still not knowing that that's an alcohol-based item, or method, I should say. Worry not. So, listen, what we talking about tonight? The problem with my truth and your truth. You know the only problem that can get in the way of my truth or your truth? It's a little thing called the truth. Sometimes my truth and your truth really don't have enough facts and proof because it goes around what we feel. Yeah, I understand what the deal is. Sometimes the facts just don't support, but that doesn't mean that we can't sort it out. Make sure you spell it right. Sun 7-5 Monday night. I am. I ain't lying, still out here, still stressing and trying to make it a little better for another way. Yo, I listen to what my brother say. Said, don't be scared, so you gotta fight, even if it don't feel right. Tori, what's up, ma? How are y'all feeling? How it gets real when exercise clear your lungs. Don't get strung. Cigarettes and cocaine. Things messing with your brain. It contains a lot of toxins, yo. Keep your boxing, battling a good thing. Yo, don't, come on, King. Come on, Queen. You understand, comprehend, nah, I mean. My truth, your truth. Show some proof. My truth, your truth. Show some truth. My truth, your truth. Show some proof. My truth, your truth. Show some. Yeah. My truth, your truth. Show some. A little bit of truth. I said my truth, your truth. Show some proof. Make it move. Show and prove. Uh. Yeah. One time. Power Monday, baby. Now I understand that it's Tuesday now, but we haven't finished our Monday chores. So we got unfinished business. So I asked, what is this? Is it my truth or your truth? Are you going to show proof? Identification, maybe a lot of things. Maybe I dance and sing. Don't dance a whole lot. Tell the truth, make it hot. Make it hot, make it hot. Yo, peace to all y'all. Do me a favor, just hit that like button. I'm not gonna ask you for nothing. You don't have to pay for nothing, no glutton. All I need you to do is provide a light. Yo, pull up, make a height. I'm for real. Sight. Tell the truth. Come on, you. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. I hope everybody had a good weekend, holiday and all that. And I hope that your week is starting off well, real well, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Got my peoples. Okay, dadgummit. What's good? What's good? What's good? Oh, he said, wow, this is terrible. Thank you. My brother Jeff Sprayberry in the house. What's going on? Yo, what up, my dude? What up? And Wanda, how y'all feeling? Thanks for coming through. Thanks for coming through. And Collins coming in, straight in, saying support me. All righty. Support for support. Went to the Braves game on the 4th. It was okay. That's what's up. That's what's up. All right, let's get it popping. Urban Therapy with Sun 752, and this your daily. It's the daily go get mism show. You think it ain't when it is? You think it won't when it is? We are here and we are in motion. We do this thing, taking all fast lane, no coasting, and everything is gonna be all right. We talking about my truth, your truth tonight. The problem with my truth and your truth. The problem with your truth and my truth. You and my truth may have similar problems. We may have similar differences. We may have no problems at all. Depends. Normally, when we start talking about what my truth is, when we start talking about, when people start saying, speak your truth. Can't nobody tell your truth except for you. Well, that can be true, and it can be a little problematic. It can be a little problematic. The problem with my truth or your truth is that sometimes it leaves out the truth. The truth is supposed to have facts, data, things that actually happened, witnesses, things like that, things that can be proven to have made a difference in something. But sometimes when we start talking about our truth, we may talk more about the way we feel about something rather than something that actually happened. So we can say that we had a terrible childhood, and that may be our truth. Maybe we feel like we had a terrible childhood because we didn't receive some love that we wanted or some guidance that we wanted, or we didn't have opportunities, or maybe we had to do some things that we didn't want to do, and we considered that to have messed up our childhood. You know what, it might be a good example of this for real? You know what might be a really good example of this? Michael Jackson. And Michael Jackson primarily, and maybe other child stars, where people who haven't lived that celebrity life may just look at the money that they made and the access that they had and the fame that they garnered and say, shoot, I would have liked to have been like that as a kid. I had to do homework all the time and wait for Christmas or my birthdays to get things that I wanted. And sometimes I didn't even get them then. And maybe we feel like our parents didn't treat us the way that we like to be treated, or would have liked to have been treated, or whatever. Or maybe our peers or our siblings or whatever, maybe we just felt a little misfit, like, instead of the way that we wanted to feel. And we may look at celebrities like a Michael Jackson, or like a Gary Coleman, or like a Kim Fields, or Melissa, what's her name? Little House on the Prairie. What was her name? Melissa. Why do I want to say Gibson? Is that her name? But you know who I'm talking about. I think it's Gibson. Anyway, you look at, like, a lot of people differ over the childhood of Michael Jackson. And a lot of people say that because his father was very strict and stern and abusive. Now, be honest with yourself. Most people, okay, if you could trade places with your childhood versus one of the Jackson's childhood, would you explore it? Some people would say, shit, I'd take those ass whoopings and that money and fame, and I would write a different ending for me than the way Michael went out. And other people might say that no matter how much money he had, no matter how much access and fame that he had, he was an unhappy person. So his truth is that he did have a terrible childhood. All he wanted to do was play with a mouse. His dad wouldn't let him play with a mouse. A mouse was his only friend. Now, honestly, I don't believe that his only friend was no goddamn rat. I don't believe that. But that's the story, and that's the only thing we have to go off of. But Michael Jackson seemed to be a very likable person as a kid. So it's hard to believe that all he had as a friend was a rat. I'm just saying. But that can be the problems between my truth and his truth and your truth. Is it the truth? Well, we're going to take a look at it tonight. What up? Straight Leon says, hey, look at this. Okay, what do you think about this photo? I got nothing. I got nothing. Lauro Ribeiro? No. Wait a minute. That's Lauro Ribeiro. It is. I believe that's how you pronounce it. My people's Cart Diem. What's good? And Cart Diem says, no, you wouldn't trade your childhood for Michael Jackson. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I'm sure a lot of people would probably roll the dice. It's like, shit, fuck it. Fuck it. The hell? I've seen parents push their children to the point of breaking so they can live vicariously through them. And that's true. And that's definitely descriptive of a Michael Jackson and definitely a Gary Coleman and a lot of celebrity young celebrities or whatever. However, for those who don't understand that or give a shit about that, who only see the lights, the camera, the action, the money, the lights, camera, action, the money, lights, camera, action, the money, lights, camera, action, the money. You see lights, camera, money. Yeah, you think your life was funny? We talk about the good times. What if we had endless dough? I know mine would have been a whole lot better. Would have heated it up just like a wool sweater in the summertime. Yeah, on July 4th, 100 degrees, 104. Yeah, let's release the papers and the docs. Everything is going to be all right with these Crocs. Have everything I want. Because money is all that I want. And a lot of people can't think out the box. I understand that shit. Yo, grow your locks. Yeah, just grow your locks. Got a military cut, baby. Well, that's just an example. And we can get into this a little bit more. And we're going to. We're going to. about Taki, about a, what's that? About a key? I don't know. About Taki, Rikers Island. Rikers Island. That's a strange comment. Rikers Island. Please hit the like button, y'all. Please do me just that one little solid. Please hit the like button. You can share the show. You can subscribe to the channel if you choose. But right now, all I really need you to do is hit the like button and everything will be all right. It'll be all right. That's all I ask of you. That's all I. So we talking about my truth or the problem with my truth and your truth. The problem with my truth and your truth. Does it always contain the truth? Now, y'all may not agree with my assessment of what my truth and your truth may be. I say that a lot of times my truth and your truth involves more of the feelings, my thoughts and feelings, our thoughts and our feelings, more than the actual facts. Because just like I said, you may feel like you didn't have a good childhood, but the facts may say, well, everything you asked for, you got. And people tried to accommodate you, but the some of the truth may be is that you were a spoiled child and you were insatiable, meaning that you could never be satisfied no matter what happened because you received so much that you always felt like you should have a little bit more. But you were never willing to get anything for yourself or try to get anything for yourself. You thought that it was supposed to be provided for you all the time. Now, you look at like, here's another example. This isn't a child star, but this was a child of a celebrity growing up. King, the rapper T.I.'s son. The rapper T.I.'s son, King, very well noted for having everybody running around here talking about they stand on business. They stand on business. One of the reasons that a lot of people are using the term standing on business is because they heard King arguing with his father, telling him that he stands on business. And T.I. was saying that King grew up not wanting for anything. He grew up with two parents that were in the music industry, both of them making a lot of money and doing well for themselves. They don't know anything about struggle. They don't know about growing up in the hood. They didn't grow up in a small house. They didn't grow up without having access. They didn't grow up without having educational opportunities. That he doesn't know anything about that, but he's still attracted to the streets like his cousins may have been. Maybe like some of the people that he knows may have been. And maybe he feels some of the struggle that his father felt because his dad was in the streets. You know, he was a drug dealer and a rapper and you know, went to jail. You know, remember T.I. used to brag about being a 7-time felon. And that was when he was young in his career. So who's to say? I mean, I used to be thinking back then, like, you a 7-time felon. We hadn't worked out the Rockefeller laws yet. The 94 crime bill. So you should have been doing life. And we know that T.I. as a felon got caught with a bunch of guns and didn't do no time. But anyway, so King's truth is that he stand on business. He stand on business. He got me saying, you saying, a whole millions of people saying, I stand on business. He stood on business. When the truth is, he probably never had to stand on business a day in his life from what we would consider standing on business to be. But that's his truth. And now his truth has filtered itself into many of our lives. So we got to talk about it, be about it, get involved. These puzzle pieces right now, we gonna solve. Talk about it, be about it, get involved. These puzzle pieces right now, we gonna solve, y'all. Carla! My girl Carla. What's going on, Ma? And what up, Zach? What's going on, Zach? Good to see you. Jeff says, I guess that's why T.I. don't tip valets. Fuck him. Oh. Yeah, it doesn't sound like he's standing on business now, does it? Does it? My man Ed from Detroit. What's going on, my dude? Always good to see you. Always good to see you. But that's what we talking about tonight. Are y'all ready to have this conversation? I hope that y'all are, because I am. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and get this chair over here and take this seat over here. And we're going to have this conversation about my truth and your truth and the problems that we may have with my truth and your truth. So, once again, I hope everybody had a really good weekend. Hope you're feeling good, starting off your week well. I hope that things are going right for you. I hope that things are going your way, and I hope that your way is the good way. Because not everybody's way is the good way. And that's when we start getting into the meaning of what my truth and your truth may be versus the truth. I mean, because it could very well be that your truth involves the truth, a lot of it. But us being the way that we are, there's a good chance, a very, very good chance that our truth has a little bit of seasoning in it that other truth doesn't have. See, when we start talking about the truth, we are talking about, hold on, my dude. My mellow.
My man.
Hold on.
Denzel Washington, American Gangster. My man.
You know what I mean? Hold on. Let me get you over here. The order. Let me get you over here in the auditorium.
Thank you for including me in this educational conversation.
Well, it wouldn't be a full full, complete conversation if I couldn't include you. So, the pleasure is mine. So,
I just want to say before you speak, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to come into the Go Getterism show with 752. That's Omar with the. My name is Troy with the.
Oh yeah, it sure is. It is Troy with the. You know what I mean? It's Troy with the. It's a good thing. All right. So, like I was getting ready to say, the truth normally doesn't care about the way that you feel about anything. It doesn't care about the way that you think anything. The truth often involves just facts, things that actually happen, witnesses to the effect. It doesn't always. Well, you know what? Hold on. You know what? Because I may be going too far. I might be slipping up because there can be, well, let me ask you, and let me ask everybody in the chat or anybody else that's listening. Do you think that the truth and facts are the same thing? Or should I say, do they have to be the same thing?
I think both of them need to be the same thing, because when you're telling the truth, you're telling the facts of what you're talking about. You know what I mean? I don't think that you can separate both of them. When you're telling the truth, it's like facts. You know what I mean? Only when you're not, when the truth doesn't fit. Like, I always feel as though there's the truth, there's the truth, there's somebody else's truth, and there's the original truth. And what takes me out about the truth is when it's your truth and you're telling the truth, and it doesn't meet the truth of what the person that you're telling it to, they get upset because they want it to meet their truth. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
They get upset. They get upset because, especially if it's in a relationship, if a woman's truth for you is that you're a compulsive liar, you always lie, and you're cheating, this, that, and other. And when you're telling the truth, and she can see that you're telling the truth, she gets even more upset that you're telling the truth.
Okay.
She gets more hostile because she can't catch you in a lie.
But see, here's the thing. That's why I asked, does the truth always have to involve facts? Because
I think it does. I think my opinion is that. Let me let you elaborate though.
Okay, well, look at the example that you gave. If we take that example, you know that you're telling the truth and you feel like the facts support the truth.
Right.
Her truth is that although the facts don't support the truth, we know that there's another truth out there. It's just not being told. So there must be alternative facts out there or additional facts that need to be explored, because to her, although you may not be lying, she doesn't believe that you're telling the truth. Maybe the whole truth is what she's looking for, and she doesn't feel like she's getting it. And maybe she is getting it, but she doesn't feel like it. So although there are only one set of facts, her facts support her truth, and your facts support the truth. And the truth may be your truth as well. But the facts aren't convincing anybody.
Right.
Like, unfortunately, I feel like this topic is sort of like a rabbit hole.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because knowing that you're telling the truth and convincing somebody that you're telling the truth is a lot different. Some people have gone to jail because of this. The facts didn't support the truth that you were telling. And from your point of view, the facts didn't support the fact that I didn't do shit. I'm innocent of this crime. But there were facts or there was evidence to support that you were guilty of the crime and you got convicted. So there are problems with this. So, you know, as you are trying to get more legal help and gather additional facts and witnesses and proof that you are guilty of this crime, meanwhile, you're locked up based on the truth and evidence that was put before the judge or the jury or both. And you're like, no, that's not the truth. It's not my truth and it's not the truth. But the truth supports that you locked the fuck up right now. Right. That's the truth and your truth. So yeah, this can go a lot of different ways. It can go a lot of different ways. Especially with me being an old melted raisin looking ass. As it says in the chat, he said, "Old melting raisinette looking ass." Like, oh, hell. Impressive.
yeah, they try to come up with some good ones. They roll the dice.
Hey, but honestly, that he may feel like that's what I look like, and that may be his truth. Is it the truth?
I was going to say,
right? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey,
truth, but your truth might be that he looked like you because you knocked off his mom. That might be your truth.
Well, here's the other truth. That the other truth is that it don't fucking matter what he thinks. You know what I'm saying? Truth. It ain't changing shit. It ain't gonna make me turn this camera or this microphone off until I'm finished. You know,
there's a lot of truths that we can make out of here.
Listen, a lot of times people may not feel like you're qualified to do what you're doing. But the facts may support that ain't shit that you can do about this. You can't stop this. You can't stop anybody else from enjoying it or supporting it. But you can stop enjoying it or supporting it yourself. That's your truth. I don't give a fuck. That's true.
And that's the whole, and that's the truth. And the whole thing about it is that, and it's not just with relationships, that's with life in general, because in relationships, when you develop when a person's mind develops some things about you, instead of them thinking listening to you, they'll listen to you and already have a truth in their head about the individual or the words coming out your mouth. They're not true. Whether it's your job, whether it's your family, whether it's your relationship, whether it's your kids. Everybody sometimes can develop thought processes of who you are, what you're saying out your mouth. And they already the thought processes they develop are with their truths are believing that you are before you even say it.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Hey, listen. Before you came on, I don't know if you was listening. We was talking about, like Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I heard you. I was arguing about that.
Yeah, you look at like Michael Jackson and a lot of child stars, child celebrities that grew up in front of the camera, in front of and on stage and all that kind of stuff. And to some people, it may look like they had the greatest childhood ever compared to what you may have gone through as a child, like with poverty and abuse and uncertainty and what I'm saying, the lack of education and opportunities and things like that. And you see them, and by the looks of things, even if all that glitters wasn't gold, they was working with a lot of silver at the very least. Yeah. So your truth may be that you grew up not really having shit, but your parents truth versus yours might be like, what you talking about? We gave you everything. Mm-hmm. We did not only the best that we could, we gave you the best that we had.
Right.
You just weren't satisfied. Now, of course, this is a case-by-case basis. But you know, when we start talking about your truth or my truth versus the truth, or not, this is not a versus. We talking about the problem with my truth and your truth, because some people are not capable of telling the truth.
Yes, that's the truth.
Exactly. Now the thing is, that's never their truth. The people who are not capable of telling the truth, or not capable of being truthful, they never look at it like that's their truth. They look at it like,
Mhm.
no, there are more things that go into the truth besides facts. And you like, what the fuck you mean? Like, well, the way I feel is my truth too. And
Yeah,
I've had people tell me that directly. Like, no, the way I
yeah,
feel is my truth, and it's the
yeah.
truth
I
too.
mean, these are the type of people that can beat a lie detector test. That they believe their truth is the truth. They can go on a lie detector test and beat a lie detector test. Because if it's your truth, you're not lying.
And for when you're pathological, because you're right, when you're pathological, you really are feeling like you're telling the truth. The thing is,
Right.
there might be video that's like that shit that Donald Trump be doing, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, dude,
Like,
this
did you
video.
see? Did you see the new picture of the gathering last week when he
Oh my
showed the crowd
god.
size?
Oh shit. Yeah, yeah. Listen,
When he showed the,
all they should have just chilled when they had the big crowd on what was it, on Saturday for the 4th. They should have just waited and showed that crowd. Instead they was trying to make something out of nothing. But that only reason that they had the, well, I ain't gonna say the only reason. One of the
that shit
biggest.
looked like you look like. Remember they used to have the Where's Waldo crowd. You had to try to farm Waldo.
Okay,
That's what the crowd looked like right there.
listen, it's
But I
just,
digress, man.
I mean, to try to satisfy one person and to sacrifice the integrity of your whole network in order to satisfy one person is diabolical, and
Definitely.
it's counterproductive as fuck. But Ed Ed from Detroit, he says something. He says something interesting. He says the truth. Wait. He said not the same, because there can be information about a fact. A fact doesn't give the whole story, and that's true. A fact may not give the whole story, but that's the difference between facts that are available and facts that are told. Because there are plenty of facts that may tell the whole story, but because of the my truth aspect of the situation, you may leave out important facts that of in order to tell your story. And people do it all the time. People do it all the fucking time. It's crazy. Um, so we have the child star or celebrity kid type of example. I want to take a look at another example that may really separate truth from mine or yours, or in the religion. When our religious leaders, our pastors, our imams, our rabbis, our shaman, our priests, priestesses, and people like that, we consider ourselves to be many of them consider themselves to be interpreting whatever holy book that they are reading from or studying or basing their religion or life after, whether it's the Bible or the Torah or the Quran or some other book. And we have been taught, many of us, that um that book is the truth.
Mhm.
But how can we really know? Eh, People read and interpret the Bible or any other holy book in many other ways. It's not written in a language that even exists anymore. So we often need help even reading the thing,
Right.
let alone understanding it and then interpreting. And we all know that there have been so many books that have been removed from the Bible. So we can't even have a full textual or factual account of what the book entails and the truth that may have been removed from it. So are our religious leaders telling us the truth? How can we know?
That's the truth.
Yeah. It's when you start talking about faith, you're definitely owning your truth. We can never know what the truth is.
Well, the whole thing about faith and everything, and the way that we go by books, that was the book that was written and the book that we were taught, and through our upbringing and through going to church and through other pastors and through other realms of what we learned. And then you sit back and you say, well, sometimes you need to pick through it and see what fits your lifestyle and what fits you, because it takes me out. Because when you sit back and you really dig deep into the Bible, and then when you dig deep into how, like when you look in the Bible and you look at, and I'm not trying to get off subject, so believe me, I'm not. But when you look through the Bible, you look at slavery, and then you look at Christianity, and you look at all the racism, all that. And then when you read the Bible, it tells you the area of where all this supposed to have occurred at, which is pretty much Africa. A large part of Africa is where all this supposed to happen at. Skin of brown hair, wool, and to me, if that's the truth, people don't want to hear that part of the truth because it takes away from what their truth is. It takes away from that picture on the wall, opposed to what that book is saying. It takes away our certain things that they don't want to know that truth, because if they know that truth, then it messes up the realm of what they did to people and how much harm they did to people in this country. So there's and like I said, there's no going through the subject. But since you brought up that, there's another aspect that I wanted to say something that part about. But when you think about the truth, is you think about the Adam and Eve part. You think about how this civilization really did occur. Do all of us come from Adam and Eve? And if that's the case, that we all come from Adam and Eve, are we really just brothers and sisters? And how did all this just happen? We still need to have an understanding of how society happened. I would like to know the truth, but the truth is always implied. You know what I mean? I went through arguments with my brothers and sisters, but I never did a Cain. I never wanted. You don't want to do a Cain and Abel with your brothers and sisters.
Well,
you know what I mean.
Well, there are stories in the Bible, lots of them, and you can take lessons, learn lessons from the Bible or any other holy book, because they all have stories, they all have lessons. But when you start asking yourself, are these the truth? And are we living our lives based off of the truth in this word? Because, that's what we're taught. The truth is in the word. The word is the book. So in those pages, as long as we live our lives by what happened in the book, we're supposed to be all right. But as we know, there's a lot of treachery that happened in the book.
Yes, it is.
And all of that treachery was forgiven. So that's part of the truth too. And when we incorporate that part of the truth into it, and as we're stacking on building our truth, I'm not sure if we get any closer to the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is, like I said, this whole thing is a rabbit hole. It has it's so opinionated. And one thing about the truth is that it's not supposed to care about your opinion, but it has to. It has to. You know, when you ever see a fight out there on the streets, you just see a fight and it looks like one person is the aggressor, but you don't always know that. It may look like one person is bullying the other person. You don't know what happened, if they know each other or even if they didn't. If you didn't see everything happen from A to Z, you can't say who was right and who was wrong. You just saw who was winning and who was losing.
Right.
So if you jump, you might jump in the fight to protect somebody who was the actual aggressor. And you helped them win. Meanwhile, the person that was winning should have won because they were the real victim. So let's say you see a child out there in the world disrespecting their parents. Now we're thinking that there is nothing that should make a child disrespect their parents, especially out there in the world. So we might be thinking that child need their ass beat. Not knowing that maybe back at the crib, that's all that happens to that child. Hey, well, I mean, you know, I ask myself all the time, and I talk about this a lot. It's funny how much stock Black people and a lot of people put in ass whoopings. Yeah, you know what I mean? Need his ass whooped. She need an ass whoop. That's what she needs. He need his ass whooped. Okay. Well, I don't know nobody that's ever been locked away in jail that didn't get their ass whooped as a child. Some of them ain't do nothing but get their ass whooped. It ain't keep them out of trouble. It ain't keep them out of jail. It didn't teach them how to survive or to strive, especially when it's only used as a method of control, not of discipline, but of control. There's a difference between control and discipline, as we know. So, you know, I mean, or how effective is an ass whooping? Maybe as a discipline tool is probably really effective. But once you start crossing the line, then it's like, well, fuck it, I'll just take the ass whooping. I mean, I get the ass whooping no matter whether I lie or tell the truth. So I might as well just go ahead and do what I want to do and just take the ass whooping when I get home. I know what it's about. They ain't gonna kill me.
You know, my oldest son, you know, his truths to me, you know, it takes me out because, you know, I had told my kids singly when I'm talking to them, I always try to tell them, I said, you don't look at my book of life of what you think of me now. You look at my book of life of my life of when you was born until now. Because if you believe in your faith and you believe in all this stuff that you believe in, God looks at my book of life. He don't look at my book of today. So when my son said to me, he's like, well, Dad, when I was going to school, you were sending me to school, not with polo, but U.S. polo. That's his truth. Not telling me we all had on Timberlands, Nikes, and all these expensive sneaks, and that U.S. polo was a uniform that you was going to school in, and you already had the other stuff at home that you couldn't wear to school because it wasn't uniforms. But at the end of the day, his truth is that I was abusive to him. And what you just brought up is what you just said. I said, did it keep you from going to jail? He said, no. I said, then I didn't abuse you enough, then did I? One thing I told my son, I said, I never put my hands on you, and enjoyed it. The whole point of a discipline is for you to develop a conscience before you do something. If I do this is going to happen. So when you don't develop that conscience, you're just saying, I just don't give a fuck, just like what you just said. I mean, I'm going to get it anyway, but I might as well just go do it then. You just saying fuck the conscious part and want to do whatever you want to do. And it gets to a point where a parent will say, okay, Now that you're an adult and you're doing and you make decisions based on what you do, there's no discipline. The only discipline that you do when you make those decisions with your truth is the truth of the system. That's their truth. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, at the end of the day, all these truths that people want to sit back and do and then tell you about your truth of who you were as an individual and not realizing, don't know. Well, I only can speak on myself. I've never wanted to put my hands or discipline my children. You understand what I'm saying? But what my truth came from is what the truth I was brought up on. A conscience works better when you discipline and make people think. I know when I was growing up and I got disciplined, it made me think. It woke me up. No, I don't want to do that no more. I know the outcome. I already know my grandfather showed me his truth. I don't want that truth no more. So I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, what you just spoke up on about everybody being locked up in prison and this, that, and the other, and that didn't get nobody, it didn't really show. I agree 1,000% on that.
Yeah.
I agree 1,000% on that. But like one thing about that whole thing about it is that as your child gets older, they become adults. You know, with your truth comes you accepting your accountability. You cannot sit back and say what your truth is about the parent when you're not accepting accountability of what added to your truth.
Uh-huh.
You have to accept the accountability part. Yeah, well, I did do this. Well, I did do that. Well, I made a mistake with this. Because if you can't accept accountability, you can't tell your parent what he did wrong.
Well, the thing is, if your kids feel like you didn't dress them a certain type of way, or you didn't address them a certain type of way, part of that has to do with the environment that they grew up around and that influence. Like if they're worried about Polo Ralph Lauren versus U.S. Polo, I mean, what are we really saying here?
True.
You
That's
know?
what I say.
Your value system of your environment is the real problem. You know, we're not talking about whether you had the ability to have good shoes on your feet or a good clothes on your back. We're not talking about that. We're talking about whether you had labels that other people would respect. You know, man, this is a tough one because, you know, although so many of us succumbed to it as we were growing up, looking like we had money instead of actually having it, spending all our money trying to look like we have money instead of actually having money to have. Yet we always had a respect for people who really had money, but we also looked at them like they were stingy because they weren't throwing their money around and they weren't even spending the money on themselves, trying to impress. It's a really twisted way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as a young person seeing their truth of being fiscally responsible while we running around here buying jewelry, supporting companies that would never give anything back to anything that would support us in any kind of way. And here we are 50 years later, still supporting Gucci and Polo and all that kind of shit. And we trickled that thinking down to our children. And we don't even feel no kind of way about it. Like, well, I'm just saying, I wore Polo, I wore Gucci. Why shouldn't my kids have the same thing? I had it.
But the reality and the truth of the situation is that even if we did have it, you know, see, the whole thing about our upbringing is that we learn from our mistakes and we learn from our downfalls. You know, and even if our kids want that, they have to have an understanding that we worked hard to get them what we could afford and what we got them. So therefore, if you want Louis Vuitton, you want the Gucci's, and you want all that, your truth is to get your ass a good job that you can buy that on your own. That's your truth. Now, if you feel as though you want to dress your child in uniform clothes, which is Polo and Ralph Lauren, then that's what you choose to do. But when you got Polo and Ralph Lauren at home that you can wear when you're not in school, then you can't complain about what you wear in school, which is a uniform.
Right.
You know, so I mean, at the end of the day, the decisions that you make, the decisions that a parent make, and that's the whole thing about it. We learn from our mistakes, and we learn for what we've done, and we trickle that down to our kids. But today's kids want to learn their own truths and do their own shit, and then they want us to correct their faults at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do that. Side A is a hell of a record, but side B, when you listen to it, you're like, I can't really listen to that shit no more. It's almost somewhat like life. Side A, you doing good, but when you get to side B, I can't fix that all the time because you done fucked up side B so much. I can't do nothing to get you out of trouble.
Mm-hmm. Hey.
You know?
Yeah. You know, I mean, there are many different ways to interpret the truth. But when we try to own what the truth is and try to own it for ourselves or try to interpret it for ourselves, I mean, we're going to have differences. We're going to have differences, you know, on the here and there. So,
because that's what you used to always say: the truth will set you free. Will it?
I think it will. But the real truth, you know what I mean? People interpret that so many fucked up ways. They think that telling the truth about an incident is going to set them free. No, they mean living in your truth. In other words, instead of trying to make it look a certain kind of way, how about you just live it the way it really is? You know, nature doesn't try to hide itself. It's very deliberate. It's very, very deliberate, and it will show you exactly, you know, what it is and how it's supposed to be. So you know, it's a slippery slope. It can take you down a rabbit hole. It can be very confusing. But it's so popular. The internet has made so many terms popular, and my truth is one of those things that is. I've never heard nobody say my truth or speak your truth before the internet. I've never heard no shit like that.
Like even with me, like when I go through discrepancies with my significant other, you know, I say what I say. I say, you know, the problem is that you want your truth to be my truth, but when my truth is my truth, you don't want to hear that truth because it doesn't coincide with what you want, what you want it to be.
Yeah.
You can't turn my words around to benefit your narrative. And that's the problem with the truth. So that's when you come out with facts. You know what I mean? And that's the whole thing about when I said facts and the truth at some points in time is one and the same. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I mean, the truth will set you free, but the truth will sometimes get you off, get you killed. The truth will also get you locked up. So I mean, sometimes telling the truth is not a good thing, but I would rather be truthful than to lie to you. I would rather tell you the truth than to lie to you. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know,
the reporting can be the truth, but also the incident can be the truth as well.
Yeah.
You know, somebody really close to me is a flat earther.
Wow.
Yeah. I know more than one. And when you listen to a flat earther talk, it's really good to be on your shit Because one thing about people who are into conspiracy theories is that they come with a lot of facts. And they come with a lot of facts in terms of questions. They don't come with a lot of proof. They come with a lot of questions. So just like in a jury in court, as long as you can put doubt in the mind of the jurors, you can be acquitted because you have to be proven to be guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Right.
So once they, put reasonable doubt in your mind, boom, you're supposed to be good. So with these flat earthers, what this particular flat earther said, he said, why can't I just believe what I want to believe unchallenged? Why do I have to be around people that want to challenge what I believe? Why can't I just believe it? And I looked at him kind of strangely, like, ain't this some shit? So his problem is not whether the earth being flat is true. He just wants to be able to exercise his First Amendment
and not be debated. Yeah.
And I said, well, you know what? He ain't the only one who looks at things that way. It's childish. It sounds immature. Like, so let me get this straight. You want to be free to believe that bullshit. And it is bullshit. I mean, it really is. As deep as they may make it seem and all that kind of shit, it's bullshit. But yes, that's what he wants. He just wants to be peaceful. Like, you believe what you believe, and I believe what I believe. And I believe that the earth is flat. And of course, there are all of these facts and figures and reasons that he believes that the earth is flat, but he wants to just have the power to just to believe that. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Today's your day. I'm gonna let you have that bullshit. Because when you get into it with somebody who has that type of frame of mind and that frame of reference, you know that they're going to start bitching. And they're going to take it somewhere else when you start proving to them like, yo, this is dumb. Because you're thinking like, forget about the belief in that being dumb or the whole concept being dumb. If you are comfortable with believing in something that's totally untruthful, where's your life going to go?
Mm-hmm.
And you got kids. Why should they believe anything the fuck you say? Look at what you're into. But how does that, the flat earther thing, it's no different than a lot of these religions that are out here.
You can run down a lot of things that people adapt their mind to and believe in. Like, everybody believes in the man that's running the country's truth. You know what I mean? And we dare not even speak on that. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. Speaking about the man who runs this country, he literally believes the same thing as that person that's close to me. He gets very upset when you challenge what he says.
Period.
He feels like he should just be able to kick that shit, and you shouldn't be challenging him. Now, it's absurd. It's immature. It's irresponsible. But that's how he feels. That's his truth. I should be able, if this is a free country and we have the First Amendment, why shouldn't the First Amendment actually provides you the freedom to lie? As long as you don't do it under oath. You actually have the freedom to lie. So as long as he's on that podium, on those stages, in that arena, he can say whatever the fuck he want to say. And it can all be lies. He can prevent it. He can present it as the truth. And the First Amendment allows him to do so. That's why you never see him go under oath. The truth literally ain't in him, but he ain't the only one. He has bred a whole bunch of other people who now feel the same way. And guess what? It's going to be a lot harder to reverse their thinking, because no matter what happens going forward here is whatever happens going forth, they're still going to hold on to that belief. Like, yo, I should be able to just say what I want to say without being challenged. Okay? That's your truth. Is it the truth? Well, the truth is that that's the way you feel. Is it the truth in fact? No, it won't stand up to a battery of tests. But
man, like when I sit back and I was a couple weeks ago when they was breaking down, when they was trying to talk about, like I said, I don't want to get off subject, but this is also something that we always have to. It's something we go back on to try to talk about truth, that truth and this truth, or the truth. And when we sit back and we was talking, and the war, and they was talking about, the paperwork that Donald Trump had got together for, the ceasefire and to get together to try to end the war. And then they compared it to what Barack Obama, John Kerry, and the 9 other countries that signed on to the situation with Iran. They still don't get the narrative of, you can show them on paper. You can give them the facts. This one, the facts and the truth go together. And this one, the facts and the truth is not true. You can't compare both of them. But in other people's minds, and people that's so brainwashed or so used to the other person's truth, like you got your Fox News, you got your other news networks, you got all these pundits, you got all these MAGA, you got all these other people, they'll feed into that truth to protect his narrative and not really look into the truth that there didn't have to be a war in the beginning.
The thing is, their truth is that it doesn't fucking matter. The truth doesn't matter. The money, because it's the money. Because they live by different truth standards than you and I do. Like people like you and I and a whole lot of people who listen to this program and other programs really give a fuck about the truth. They really care about it. We don't understand that the places where we are looking for the truth do not give a fuck about anything except for the money. And that's whether you're talking about Democrats, Republicans or Democrats. Because you're not going to tell me that all of these Democrats are out here are concerned about the truth and justice and helping people when they have all the power that they need to prosecute this bullshit and put a stop to it. They ain't doing it.
There you go.
Everybody get paid. The money, they not going to stop the money.
And that's the whole thing about it. And that's what you just said up here and said is the way that me and you both look at that. You know what I mean? When you think about all the people going in front of Congress and all these commissions and all that, there has yet to be anybody persecuted or locked up for contempt of court, for lying under the oath, or none of that.
Because they haven't been under oath.
Oh yeah. They haven't been under oath. Yeah.
They haven't been under oath. That's the thing. They doing all of these hearings, and these people that are supposed to be so concerned with the truth are not insisting like, yo, no, we going to do this shit under oath, or we not doing it at all. They like, nah, all right, since you don't want to do it under oath, we'll still do it because at least the truth will be out there and the public will will make their decision. Like, so that was good enough for y'all, huh? Y'all didn't ask us if that was good enough for us. Y'all made that decision. And we know the reason that y'all made that decision. Because at the end of the day, it costs money for those cameras to come on. It costs money for those venues to be set up. Everything costs money. And they not gonna fuck up the money just so you can feel good about what happened or didn't.
The truth is that everybody has their hand in the cookie jar. Everybody has their hand in the cookie jar. Nobody, and it's been going on for years and years and years, and nobody nobody wants to get caught up with this man over top of the country and has his hand in the DOJ, the FBI, the CIA, and all forms of government.
Well, Troy, we have been conditioned over the years not to listen to the poor righteous teacher.
That's the truth.
It's true. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody listening to your broke ass. If you so fucking smart, how come you can't have this? How come you can't do this? That's what we've been conditioned. Day after day after day. When people come on this platform right here and they look at how many people are watching and they say, don't nobody care about that shit and neither do I. But if they saw 500 or 5,000 people watching, they would watch that shit even if it wasn't a word being spoken that they agreed with. Because we've been taught that as long as a lot of people are into it, that means that there's money going into it, and that means that it has to be worth something. If ain't nobody interested in it, then it ain't shit. So a lot of times your truth and the truth has to get compromised in order to make it look like the truth instead of actually telling it.
You want to read the last person that just said something that's Derek something.
Derek River said Trump messed up men's national team's energy when he got the red card rescinded from corrupt FIFA. Same as when he came to Game 3 at Madison Square Garden and messed the Knicks' energy up. Well, he's an energy usurper. He sucks the energy out of everything. Everything is about him. He don't give a fuck. Since he became president, the first event that he went to was the Super Bowl. You remember? He had just gotten sworn in. The Super Bowl was the next month. No other president went to the Super Bowl because they didn't want to politicize it and make it all about them. Because when you have a president coming to an event now, security is different. Now, instead of people being able to just hang out and cool out and convene and drink and party and have fun and act a fool, you can't do that shit because they got to lock down everything and everybody got to get checked. And now it's all about identification and security. But he don't give a fuck about that. Yep. Now it's all about me. Anybody who went to that Knicks game, they'll tell you he fucked up. He fucked the whole energy up. And of course he did it on purpose. But that's his truth. His truth is everything should be about me. It's all possible because of me. That's his truth. At least that's my truth about his truth. You know? But the people who love him or support him, they fully support that shit. Like, yeah, what's the problem? What's the problem? Just because nobody else did it doesn't mean that he shouldn't do it. He's an innovator. Hey, this show is called The Problem with My Truth and Your Truth. That's what the title of this show is. And so we're trying to give examples about why there are problems or can be problems with my truth and your truth or anybody else's individual truth because it doesn't always support the facts. Let me see. Get my brother back up in here. I want. All right, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Level is good. Level is good.
All right, cool. Hold on. Carp Diem says, you are correct. This culture idolizes celebrity, sports, entertainment, not intellectuals, wisdom, science, math, literature. More people know more about MJ than they do MLK. Yes. And speaking of MLK, one of the reasons that MLK was a much more popular movement than let's say Malcolm X is because MLK was a very popular movement. And it was bringing in money. That wasn't his key focus, but he was actually talking about the money. Malcolm X wasn't talking about no money. He was actually talking about the truth and justice. MLK was actually talking about, you know, black people being indigenous to the United States and being owed reparations. He was about to fuck up the money. That's the real reason why he got killed. It ain't had nothing to do with him trying to improve race relations or get justice for black people in forms of equality. That's not what they was mad at him about. They was mad because he was getting ready to fuck the money. He was asking some questions that they didn't feel like this country was ready for. He was talking about reparations. He was talking about going the legal route. It was like, okay, fun time's over. It was all good when y'all wasn't doing nothing but singing. But see, the difference between MLK and a Malcolm X is that MLK was educated. He was college educated. And that was a big deal for that generation. For his generation, that wasn't no small deal. That was major. So, you know, he knew some shit that probably 90% of the population didn't know because they didn't have the opportunity to experience higher learning. And that's not to say that you can't learn a lot. You know, I saw some fly shit on YouTube today. And you know what? Since we talking about my truth, I want to know what y'all think about this because I hadn't looked at it from this angle. I'm big on education. I am. I get that from my parents. My dad wasn't having it. He was like, all my kids are going to college if I have anything to say about it. He believed that having an education, it didn't matter what you did with your education, but you should have it. There's never anything bad about knowing more. But I saw this video, and this video was talking about the real reason that people supported Charlie Kirk. And it blew my mind. He said, look at what Charlie Kirk was doing. He said a lot of people who supported Charlie Kirk were people who didn't get to go to the kind of schools that they wanted to go to or couldn't afford to go to college. And if you look at what Charlie Kirk used to do, he used to, with his 33-year-old self, he's going around to colleges debating college students, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, right?
Right.
He's debating them, and there's no way that an educated 33-year-old is not going to be able to debate somebody that's like 22 or under. You're not going. He didn't bring any facts. Whenever anybody got close to beating him, he would change the topic or overtalk them and whatever. And that had a lot of his supporters like, yeah, them old silly ass college motherfuckers thinking they so fucking smart. And the person was saying that a lot of them were really just jealous because they couldn't go to those schools or they couldn't go to school at all or whatever. So They start talking about how a college education didn't matter and how it's just going to put you in a bunch of debt and all of that kind of shit. So now we don't have a respect for truth, and we don't have a respect for education, because education makes you challenge shit, and it also makes you seek out the truth or challenge lies. And I said, well, goddamn. I thought it was just the racism. They was like, that was only part of it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons that people like Trump is why? Because he was challenging the establishment. Now he done blinded they dickhead asses because they don't see that he is the establishment.
Mm-hmm.
So while he was saying he was going to stop everybody from picking your pockets, then he started picking your pockets. You know, for years, I have said the way that the devil wins is he convinces you that the angels are conspiring against you. Now think about anybody who has ever turned you against somebody that you loved, liked, believed in, or whatever. People, this is how people get confidence. Like, yo, man, I know that's supposed to be your people's, but listen, I got these pictures. I'm telling you, I overheard a conversation. You know, like, I don't know if that's really your friend. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? You my man. I see what you doing out here, and I like what you doing. I just don't want you to get caught out there. So, you know, just keep an eye on them. Now, you're keeping an evil eye on them.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, what they say, the devil is always busy, right?
Mm-hmm.
He done already planted the seed in your mind. Now you looking at the angel sideways. So whenever the angel does anything that doesn't coincide with what you think that the angel should be doing, because you don't really even understand the process, but you understand suspicion, you understand jealousy, you understand hate, you understand scrutiny, you understand all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now all the devil got to do is sit back and wait. All right. Yep. Now I got him fighting. Now I got him fighting his friends. Got him fighting his family. Got him fighting his friends. And he gonna come back to me like, yo, you the only one that put me on with all of them motherfuckers to what they were doing. That's how the devil wins. Convinces you that the angels are conspiring against you. And you gonna feed into it. I mean, it's a safety issue, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to get played. Nobody wants to get hurt. So
and that's all part of that's all part of that narrative of being that truth. And it creates a negative thought in your head when that person overhead is trying to give you positive influence, which is their truth. And you don't even think about the fact of that person telling the truth because the seed has already been planted in the head. So you instantly think that whatever that person is telling you is a lie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, listen, Carp Diem says, sir, you already see it. Seeking higher education is now being demonized. Banning books and deleting history is back in fashion. Exactly. Because all of those, that's
Well, see, son, which is not so much as banning books. It's certain kind of books and certain kind of history that they're banning. You know what I mean? It's not, you're not banning Tom Sawyer. You're not banning, certain other books. You're banning books that's based off of what you don't want this country to, the ugliness of this country, which is slavery and the history of Black America. You're banning that type of stuff. You're closing down things where as though it shows the gravity of how great and smart we were by inventing things. You know, you want to close down and take things down in the Smithsonian because you don't want people to see the greatness. You want to ban the books because you don't want people to read on slavery or know about this type of shit. That's the stuff you banning. They're not banning all books.
No, they're not banning all books. but they are. Once you get the party started, you ain't got to ban everything, because now you got them questioning everything that's good anyway. And it's not just Black history that they are demonizing and banning. It's not. Anything that doesn't fit their agenda is what they are banning. So the truth in all kinds of ways are what they want to ban. This motherfucker, and I hate to stay here, but it is what it is. But this motherfucker is really hell bent on making people question whether the 2020 election was legit. He can't prove it in court because it requires proof, and they just can't. They can't provide that. See, the truth requires proof, but lies don't. Lies don't require proof. All you gotta do for a lie is get your opinion involved. And a lot of people are more comfortable with opinions because that is less work. You ain't gotta be reading shit, researching shit, referencing shit. You know what I mean? That's a plagiarist way out of the game or into the game in this case. But you know, they kept the slaves in line because they would not allow them to be educated. They wouldn't allow them to read and write. And when you can't read or write or leave your present station, then you can't learn more about the depravity of your condition.
Right.
So you start to believe that the way things are for you are not only the way that they are supposed to be, but the only way that they're ever going to be. And, you know, so that's why slavery has never really ended for us, because many of us are still stuck at the plantation. We believe that that's where we are supposed to be and the way that we're supposed to think. And it's easier. So it's funny how they try to, you know, how I hear so many people try to talk about. Hold on a second. Let me take this call. Hold on. Oh, damn. They hung up. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to run it back, switch it back. All right, let me say this. Caller with the last number is 4418. You can call back. I don't know if I answered the call too late or if it switched to voicemail. Sometimes you never know what's going on with some of these, with these devices, and you know what I mean, cell phones or whatever. But if you want to call back, you're free to do so. And I'll make sure I pick up the call faster. So yeah, it's funny when I hear people say, you know, Black people, you know, they just want to collect welfare and all of that because they're looking for a handout. They're looking for a handout, and I'm like, how did we become? How did the people who worked for free, who built everything and got all of these skills, working for nothing, who built people's empires for nothing, how did we get blamed for wanting nothing but freebies? The person that worked for nothing is the one that's being blamed for wanting everything on a silver platter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we talk that shit about ourselves. Mm-hmm. We do. We say it about ourselves. How many times? I don't know if you've known anybody, but I've known people who said, you know,
I know you get ready to say, go ahead.
No, I've known people who said things like, you know, I don't even want no reparations. You know what I'm saying? I get my own shit. I'm like, so you don't want to get paid? You don't want to get paid back? Mm-hmm. Lend me $500.
Matter of fact, give me $500. Don't let it give it to me.
You know, however it go, I need 500 or 5,000 or 50. however much, just give me the shit and just let me go on and be like, all right, yeah, you gave me $50,000, but we equal. You ain't no better than me, right? All right. So what you worry about the 50,000 for? What's the big deal?
Well, I mean, when we think about what we talked about when you brought up reparations, and like I said, I'm gonna always say I'm not trying to get past it, but we here right now. When you sit back and you think about that.
Wait a minute, hold on. We're gonna do this call.
Okay.
Caller with the last numbers 4418. Welcome to the Daily Go Getimism Show. What's on your mind tonight? I'm feeling like a real man should. Hold on a second. All right, so what's going on?
Sorry, I haven't been around for a while to check, but I wanted to give my input for tonight's topic if it's okay with you.
Okay, hold on a second. Man, how did you get cut off? Hold on a second. Okay. Okay, caller with the last numbers 4418.
Yes, it's Graham.
Okay,
How are
Graham.
you?
I'm feeling like a real man should. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks. I'm sorry for being absent for the past couple of days. Just rough. I wanted to give my input for tonight's topic. In my honest opinion, and might be wrong about this, but I've always said this, and maybe I'm wrong for saying this, but I think if the American people want to change and we all deserve a change, I think we should clear out both sides and restart everything. And the reason why I say that is because neither side has given us good in all the years that we've seen. And they've taken and basically robbing us all blind from day one, in my opinion. They get in there, they make a bunch of promises, and they do not keep them. It's all about, when they get in there, it's about themselves and not about for the people, by the people, as it should be.
Okay.
And I think it should be about the people because that is written in the Constitution. Just my thoughts. I don't like Trump. I don't like Democrats. I don't like Republicans. I think we all need a reset. I think it needs to reset and put anybody in that hasn't been in office for years. That's just my thought and my opinion.
Okay. So,
And
go ahead, finish.
the reason why I say that is looking from the inside in, I have had trouble with both sides being in for a long time. And the reason why I say that is that a lot of people like myself have had a rough go fighting the system to get help or getting heard or getting things that as a U.S. citizen, needs or all that. And it's just, I think we should care about our people first instead of, so it's just my thought.
Okay. How would they start everything over? Because I don't see a way that you could get people to give up what they already have. It's whether you're talking about money or whether you're talking about power. So how would starting all over be possible?
Well, I don't know if this would be the right suggestion, but I know voting, they say voting helps, but I haven't seen that help in a very long time. I think back in the, I think 60s or 70s, correct me if I'm wrong, um, there was a group of people that marched on Capitol Hill to make a change. I think if we all as American people came together and did that again, that would probably make a turnaround for our country. That if we all could just get together as human beings and do that like they did back in the 60s or 70s, it might make a difference. And I, for one, if I could, I would give it a whirl.
Do you know what changes were made when they did march on Washington back then?
Not completely, a whole lot. I am rough on my history, but I do know that some of the march was about people being heard more and some other things that was going on in that time frame that people needed a change from, and it helped them get heard at least. And I would say for at least try. I think, as the old book says, you don't know unless you try, correct?
Well,
So
something like that. I'm not sure that if that's the way
if you don't try something new, then how are you supposed, how will we know if it works or don't work, correct? So if anything that we've tried so far, like voting hasn't helped, writing to Congress and Senate hasn't helped, calling Congress and Senate hasn't helped. I would say maybe trying the March on Capitol Hill come together, it might. And again, I'm not no saint at this, but it's just my thought and my opinion on this whole thing. And I didn't want to draw out a whole talk tonight. I'm trying my best to talk clearly because I've had a rough, like I said, couple weeks where I'm not keeping no food down whatsoever anymore. So that's why I haven't been around. And when I saw tonight's topic, I was like, I know he's probably not going to want to hear from me, but I do want to give my brief thought for the day on the topic and say hi to my family, and I miss you all.
Well, I appreciate you calling in. And
Probably.
and you know, and your truth is your truth. I'm not even here to dispute it. We're here to question our own selves and find out if we are even on the right path to truth. But I would encourage you to look up the March on Washington and what its original goals were, and even what their goals were after it was all said and done, because that would probably either encourage you to stay on the same path of what you're thinking about, or it might change your mind about some things, because there are reasons for everything.
I will do that because I do need to study on it more because if I'm going to talk about it, I should at least know more about what I'm talking about, correct? Yes.
Well, yeah, it's always good to know what you're talking about.
I mean, I know some, but not a whole lot. And I will be the first one to admit I'm sorry for, you know, history, mind blown for decades, but I'm going to do that because not only because you asked me to, because it's the right thing to do. If I'm going to put my foot, if I'm going to say something, I should know more about what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I agree.
it's just always good to be able to qualify, be able to qualify what you know, even qualify your own feelings about something. It's always a good idea to do that. But listen,
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me interrupt the conversation. Again, sorry. Tell Troy with a T, I didn't mean to barge in, and tell everybody I said hello, and I love each and every one of you, and God bless each and every one of you.
We love you too.
Amen.
All right. You have a good night.
You too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Good stuff, Miss. Oh, shit. I swear.
Please leave your message for.
All right. Levels good.
Well, I want to speak my truth on that. You know, my truth on not so much as the I already knew what the March on Washington was about, and this, that, other in the 60s, just that. But, I mean, what she said would be a good idea. But then when you think about the history since the father of George W. Bush was in office, ever since the father of George W. Bush was in office, every Democratic president had to clean up the mess of the Republican president. Bill Clinton did, and Barack Obama did. You see, every time there's a deficit, we was on the verge of a depression again when Barack Obama came in office and had to deal with the real estate and deal with the cars and all that stuff, and that's when the stimulus checks came out because he had to stimulate the economy, henceforth the name stimulus. And Bill Clinton did, and both of them brought the deficit down, and also we had surplus. So it has nothing to do with that. This party right here, every time they get in office, they're not for the people. They're for the rich. We have a man that wasn't even voted in or confirmed as being part of his office come in and just destroy so much of the DEI and what was it, affirmative action and all this stuff, and then turned around and became the first trillionaire because he got so much stuff from this government when he came in here and bought his way into that office. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I can understand where she's coming from. It is a good thought process. And the question that you put out there was, how would you do it? But it has nothing. And another way you could do it is vote independent in.
Well,
that way,
I don't, I don't, we'll never. There will never be a way to change it, but let you elaborate now. No, I was just going to say, I don't believe that we'll ever get the truth where politics is concerned because it's really all about the money. You can't find truth where money is concerned.
Well, definitely.
You know, so I'm not even looking there.
But you know what? Hey, son, not to say what you get. Let me tell you when you get truth. You get truth when there's quietness. When people are quiet, like the Nancy Pelosi's, like the Chuck Schumers, and they're not so much out there, out in the forefront talking. Because when this was George W. Bush, they would talk, they would speak. You would hear them more. But when you got the village idiot running the country, and he has his hands on the DOJ and the FBI and all these people that can investigate you, you get quiet. You shut up. Because there's a fear, you know?
Well, I don't know. Like I said, the game is about money, and that's the truth. That's the only truth I see with that. But you know, like I was saying before, we've been taught to only listen to the person that has the money, and I just can't subscribe to that. You know, you'll find the truth wherever you're looking for it. It depends on which truth you're looking for.
True.
So if you're looking for the truth in morality, if you're looking for truth in spirituality, then you're not gonna get that in politics, because it ain't about all of that.
But let me just elaborate on something too, though, sir, because it's before Ms. Grim Reaper called in. I was saying before when you was talking about reparations, right? It takes me out how this country operates. We go over, we bomb Japan, and then we help with rebuilding it and making it and bringing it to the forefront. Same thing with China. We made them more powerful than America at some point. You know, we did all this stuff. And we gave them, and just like even with Iran, you talking about giving them $320 billion to rebuild. You know what I mean? To rebuild. And then you turn back around as soon as Black people in this country say reparations, everybody is appalled. It takes me out.
Well, I mean, they should. Of course, they're going to be appalled because they don't feel like the reparations should be given now. Like if since reparations weren't given when it happened or close to that time, they feel like they're probably invalid in the first place. And I don't even blame them for feeling that way. There's certain things.
Reparations. Let me ask you something. I want to ask you a question. Was reparations supposed to have been the 40 acres and a mule theory?
No, that went along with the reparations. That was in addition. That wasn't. Yeah. So
I just wanted to ask you that part.
Well, the thing about it is the same way after the Civil War, they didn't punish those Confederates. Chill.
Yeah.
They let them hang around. There's a reason for that. Because they could have killed all of that. And now we got to deal with that shit today. You could have killed all of that. Literally. You could have literally killed all of that. That part of history could have been like the Nazis. Like, nope, there ain't no more. You can start a new party. But there's a reason they didn't do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, when you talk about profiting and all of that, it goes a lot deeper than just one source of making money. And there's more than one way. Besides, there's more than just money as a way to profit off of something. But keeping in step with what we were talking about tonight, we're talking about the problems with my truth and your truth. And these are some of the problems.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeking truth in ways that satisfy us personally. And that's a problem. It has been a problem. It is a problem now. And it's going to continue to be a problem. because we're not addressing it in the way that it needs to be addressed. But we're not addressing it personally the way that it needs to be addressed, because we're looking for somebody else to do the work for us, and we got to do the work for ourselves. I mean, if it's going to be our truth in the first place, why aren't we cultivating it more? Why aren't we adding more onto it? Why aren't we building on it? We're looking for somebody else to change their ways, and we haven't adjusted or advanced our own.
True.
And we're going to have to do that. Jeff Sprayberry says, do white Union soldiers' descendants have to pay? Do black slave owners' descendants have to pay? Nobody in the U.S. today owns slaves. Yep, you're right. And the people who did own slaves back then were not punished. I mean, the least you could have done was got rid of the energy that was there. You know, Jeff, I think it's interesting when white people today try to absolve themselves of slavery. Well, you know, my grandparents weren't rich, or my grandparents weren't from this country. We came from Europe and all of that, and we didn't own any slaves. So why should we have to pay for that? And I just think it's interesting how y'all ignore how y'all profited off of that.
Well, nobody wants to, and this is the part where I said accountability. Like, it takes me out because, we sit back, and the truth about the matter, that their truth is Lincoln freed us. But my truth and the way I feel about it is that if he freed us, then every slave and everybody that was hung, maimed, and killed should have been brought up on war crimes, should have been brought up on crimes in this country through the court system that was dominantly white, and nobody was never convicted. I'm talking about hate crimes was prevalent at that time, whereas though the government should have stepped in and dealt with it at that time, just like you just said. If it was dealt with at that time, it might have been something different.
Like I said, they could have killed this. They could have killed the whole movement. They could have. The problem really is that they weren't the South weren't the only racists.
Yeah.
That's the problem. The South weren't the only racists. They weren't the only racists then, and they ain't the only racists now. So, at the end of the day, the South were the brothers and sisters of the North.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, as far as getting the money together and bringing the country together, yeah, there had to be a lot of bloodshed and all of that. But yeah, once it was over, it was over. And we were just a bargaining chip and collateral damage. So yeah, nobody is saying that you own slaves back in the day and you should have to pay. You don't pay for shit anyway. And, you pay your taxes and all of that kind of shit. So you don't really know what you pay for. So if we get reparations, you're going to pay for it whether you like it or not. We know who's not going to pay for it. The same people who haven't been paying their taxes in the first fucking place. But the plan is to keep me and your broke ass fighting against each other, talking about what's right and what's wrong. Which goes back into my example before. The devil has the angels, has you questioning the angels.
Well, there's a quote that Jeff Sprayberry has in there. I think you might want to read and elaborate on.
I say it. Black people captured black people and sold them, but we are the ones held accountable. Okay, let's do this. First of all, the slavery that was practiced in the United States was called chattel slavery. Chattel means ownership. So you can talk about slavery all over the world historically. You will never find any slavery that was the same as they practiced in the Americas. You will not find that anywhere. There has never been another place in another era or another time in history, in the history of the world, where another man was the property of another man. Only in the Americas. Only in the Americas. If you really want to challenge that, we can do it all day. So slave, the word slave was more synonymous with the word citizen historically. Until you got to chattel slavery. Chattel means ownership. So when you go back to Egypt, you can go back to the caveman days. You will never find another situation where a man or a woman or a child was the property of another man, except in the Americas. That's what separates our experience from any experience all over the world. So all of these black men captured black men and sold them didn't happen anywhere except for the Americas.
But at the end of the day, it was a learned process of what another black man learned from the plantation owner. It has nothing to do with them doing it. It was what they were taught.
There are accounts of some black people owning slaves in the Americas and Jews and all of that. None of them want to own up to it. But we know the majority who own slaves. And we know that there weren't any black slave owners fighting on the side of the South in order to keep the Confederacy, because they didn't profit from that. So, we can debate about this as long as you want to. But I fucking know what happened. I may not know the whole story, but I know the story a lot better than a lot of people. But what's funny is I haven't asked y'all for shit. I don't know or think that we'll ever get reparations, but I know goddamn well that is in my mind the debt will always be open. I'm not closing that shit, and I'm not giving up on it or deciding that it's not necessary. And I ain't letting anybody off the hook who profited off of this shit or who benefited off of it. No.
And for Jeff Frayberry, I respect what your dialogue and what you just said. But when you said that part, you have yet to sit back and say anything about accountability towards what y'all people did. You're saying black did this, black did that, but there's no accountability for them. You haven't sat up here and said there should be accountability for what y'all did. That's the part right there.
Listen, I don't fucking blame him. I don't blame him for not wanting to pay reparations.
I'm not talking about reparations, period.
No. What I'm saying is, I don't blame him for his account of what slavery is. Of course, I mean, if I was in that situation, I would probably not want to take any accountability either. But the point is, if we ever get paid, you will pay for it, just like you've been paying for us not to get it. So, I mean, it's going to come out of your check anyway. The working man is the only one who pays for anything. But don't worry, because you ain't going to see it in your lifetime. We ain't got to worry about it.
It takes me out, because when you sit back and you speak on who gets the most out of this country through any type of system, it's not us. The welfare system does not. Middle America and all the South gets everything through the welfare system.
Well, it wasn't even developed for us. There was a time we couldn't get it. Yeah, welfare was called relief at first. It wasn't even called welfare. It was called relief.
Every name changes when it hit Black America.
No. They didn't change it because of Black America. Welfare wasn't even a black thing until Reagan. Reagan put that on us with that welfare queen shit. We weren't known for abusing welfare and all of that shit. They had the numbers. You know, this is the part that be fucking me up. Black people weren't even included in the census in the early days. They didn't want us in the numbers because if we were in the numbers, then they were going to have to account for the programs that they didn't include us in. See, once you really start getting into history, you start looking at shit different. Like, it's only the motherfuckers who don't know the history that say this dumb shit because they don't understand. They only history is word of mouth. My mama and my daddy told me I don't owe shit or that I didn't do shit. Yeah, it was Reagan. Reagan was the one who shined the light on making it seem like it was black people that were abusing welfare. That was not our stereotype before. It might have been our stereotype amongst each other, but it wasn't. White people wasn't running around here saying, these black people shiftless and they don't want to work and all this kind of shit. Shit, being on welfare was hard as shit back in the day. Back in the day, they used to have the social worker come into the crib and make sure that no extra money was being made just to ensure that you were poor. Yeah, I mean, people be acting like, people kill me with this welfare shit. Like motherfuckers are getting paid. If you got 10 welfare checks, guess what? That would only equal up to a decent job. How the fuck do you forget that? It would equal up to a good job. Shit. 10 welfare checks with only one child, 10 welfare checks will not even put you at 6 figures. Understand that shit. We talking about my truth or your truth. Understand that. You could get 10 fucking welfare checks and still not make 6 figures in a year. So what are you bitching about? You bitching about not knowing what the fuck you talking about. So yeah, it is what it is. We're gonna do these do the poll question, do these birthday shout outs and get the fuck on up out of here.
This is America.
Hold on, I like this comment by Carp Diem. In 1930-31, FDR enacted the welfare program Relief, and in an effort to counteract the effects of the Great Depression. It wasn't until the late 60s that people of color were eligible for federal assistance. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. When I say we weren't known for abusing that system because we could not do it. It wasn't even developed for us. So the same people it was developed for and that it benefited back then when it was developed are the same people abusing it now. But they're not the face of it. Because it don't look good when they are the face of something. Nobody gets up in arms when they are the face of something. When it's our face, when it's a brown face, that's when shit has to change. But fuck all of that.
Before you leave, Mr. Reaper got a question for you.
Nah, man. Well, we doing this poll question. I've had enough. All right. Do you attract more people to you with your mind or with your body? Money is like the body, and be honest. Okay. So 69% said definitely my mind. So with 69% of people feeling like they attract more people with their mind than their body, either Either most of the people answered the poll question, just don't have a nice body or ain't that cute, or we just really pulling mind control over people. All right, 10% said mostly my body. Okay, and 12% said my body until they see that I'm smart. Reasonable. And another 10% says mind for the same sex, body for the opposite sex. In other words, they attract more people of the same sex with their mind, but they attract the opposite sex with their body. I ain't even mad at that. What up, Clay? What's going on? But yeah, let's get on the body here, man. Troy, let's say your goodbyes, man. Let's go.
Yo, everybody, be blessed, be safe, enjoy your day. Hope y'all enjoyed y'all barbecue grill holiday weekend. And be safe, Joe, man. Love you, bro. Much love, man. Thanks for that YouTube send today too, man. I really needed it at that time, man. I tell you, guys, see you at the right time, bro.
Listen, man, it's a funny story behind that. Because, my mom be listening to gospel videos when I go over her crib, right? And and I like gospel music. I like listening to the choir and all of that kind of stuff. But, I be thinking like, a lot of these lyrics, they be lazy with the lyrics. I'm like, they don't be saying shit. It's all feeling, boy. It's all feeling. I'm like, I'm listening to this song. I'm like, I'm feeling the song. But I'm like, this song ain't really saying shit. But I'm going to send it to my mans because I think he's going to feel it too.
Yeah. It came at the right time. It had a couple emotions come out, man, because it came at the right time, man.
I hear that.
It came at the right time. Like I said, when I'm down and I'm out, you either get a phone call or I get something like this from you, and I really appreciate you, bro.
Yo, I'm glad I could be of any service, man. You have a good night.
All right, you bless me.
All right. My man Troy Diesel, always coming through, always shining bright. Good looking. All right, y'all, we have some birthday shout outs to do. Some people were born on this glorious July 6th, and they deserve to be acknowledged. So let's go about our business of acknowledging them and making them feel special because they are special, because they are special, because they are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They get number one out the box, Shekinah Pender, happy birthday to you. And also Jewel Gardner, Yolanda Lewis, Donald Conover, Laney Rowe, and last but not least, Dave Gaudette. I want to say happy birthday to all of y'all. And I hope that today finds you all in good health, happiness, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And that goes out to each and every person out there born on this glorious July 6th, anywhere out there in the world, worldwide, internationally, and universally. All of y'all go ahead and turn up. But don't turn up too loud. Just turn up loud enough so everybody can hear you. Rock out, rock on and do the damn to rock out. Rock on and do the damn rock out. Rock on and do the damn thing. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind. Anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours, and remember, man, listen. My truth, your truth, it's all about the truth. I can't always show you the facts and proof. I'ma do the best that I can because I gotta stand up and tell the truth like a man. And a man is something that I can always be proud. So when I get the chance to scream it loud, Black and I'm proud. Yeah, always been that. Always been trying to get money, keep pockets fat. but it's more than that. But I know that the money makes you keep on watching. So I'm still clocking. And I'm thinking to myself, why I gotta have a lot of money for you to see or even pay attention to the things that I'm saying? You don't think that I'm studying? You don't think that I'm playing? You don't think I'm running the game right? You don't think I'm tight? You don't think that I'm hype? You don't think that I'm getting right? You don't think that I can show you a way? You don't think that a payday is something that will go away if you stay in the same frame of mind? You don't think that if you really try to climb, you're going to go to heights and be mine on some other type of shit? You don't really think that you ever going to be more than illegit? And being illegit is more than not having two parents. You can get off with one, but it won't be fun. But you still got to do what you got to do. So I'm glad that y'all turned on your thing and came through. And each and every night, it makes me feel right because we still building with each other, even if we fight. So we don't always have to agree, you and me. But as long as we listen to each other, then we will see that a better way is out there, because knowledge don't have to be confirmed as long as your ass will learn. And it's your turn. So I'ma treat it like a knob. Everything is going to be all right. And that's my job. So I'ma do it as if I'm clocking in tonight. And everything is going to be all right. All right? Peace to all my day ones, my everydays, and my brand news. I love y'all to death. Resuscitate y'all. Love y'all right back to life. We will be back tomorrow night, 1 a.m. in the morning. So make sure y'all come on through, man. Come on through. Y'all know how we do. Please hit the like button before we get on up out of here. I appreciate all of y'all coming through. Hope y'all enjoy listening to the program as much as I enjoy broadcasting it. Peace, y'all. All right.